Hi, my name is Pete Kane. People call me Podcast Pete. I've done about 300 podcasts this past 2 years, about 200 different ones, repeats. So I've learned a lot. And I want to share with you one of the lessons or one of the skills I developed in my journey of podcasting, and that's journaling. Now, I did a little bit of journaling in my career, but it was always when I was at a bad spot. And then I'd say, well, hey, they say that to feel better, you got to have a gratification journal or something like that. You got to be grateful. So journaling. So I do it. And, I don't remember that it instantly popped me out of it. And that's a lesson in life. You do it like for 2 weeks and you think that all of a sudden that silver bullet's going to pop you out. It's habits over time, being able to be consistent and being able to create those habits. And I want to give you 3 tips because this has made a incredible difference in my life, and I hope it can help you. So first off, when I started journaling, it was after I'd worked out at 5 in the morning. I had got my coffee and I had my coffee for a reason. And then I would sit down and start writing. Now, I'm not a writer in the past. Dyslexic people, I just never felt comfortable writing because of just misspelling words and just it looked just discombobulated. But I would always speak, but I never wrote. But here's what I discovered, that I would start writing, and first it was just a page, then it went to two, and then sometimes it's 3 pages, and sometimes more in a day. And the way I do it is this: I do 3 things. First, I write reflection. What lessons did I learn yesterday? We tend to be so busy being busy, we don't know the lessons that we have in our life. What was the day like? How do I reflect on what happened? Because once the day is over, it's finished. You can't change it. And that gives you an opportunity to learn, but you have to be intentional about really absorbing that learning opportunity. So I would do 1 page of reflection, which just gave me a perspective of what I learned, who I met, just different things, what people said on the podcast, just generally things that I could write out. And when you get it out of your head onto paper, it's magical because a lot of thoughts are running through our brain. Information is doubling every couple of years. We got 6,000 marketing messages every day. It's ridiculous when you see the kind of pace of information. Now, our brains weren't generally designed for all this cramming this information into our brain. It's designed to think. And the thinking of writing and reflecting just gives you a clarity in your life. And it gives you a sense that every single day you're getting better at what you do. And if you don't reflect, self-awareness, just different things that go in that reflection time, then you're not learning. And if you're not learning, you're not growing. And that's one of the important things of everything you do. Grow every day, but do it intentional. The second thing, I would kind of write brainstorming ideas. And I would just write things, what I learned. I mean, I would write what I learned, but how can I apply that to something else I was thinking of? Because I always had a creative thought process, but I tended not to develop it because I was so busy doing stuff that I didn't have thinking time. And I switched to a spot in my life for 2 years where I had plenty of thinking time, absolutely 15 hours a day, 6.5 days a week. That's a little bit over the top, but it's a lot of time to think. Not that I was just thinking that whole time, but I'm just saying that in a quiet environment, no TV, no social, no like evening activities, in bed by 8:30, up at 4:30, in the gym at 5, home writing from 5 to 6 and planning and just doing things that I'm writing, getting them out of my head because our brain was designed to think. What happens to us today is we're not giving it proper time to think. And if you can take those ideas and write them out, maybe somebody said something and it completes a thought of some sort, and you can start writing it out. It's magical to get that on paper. And then if you want to do anything further than that, you have an option, but you've gotten it out. I always date my journals. So I might be able to go back to my calendar and say, when did I meet this person? And what I remember writing some things about it. I write about my clients too. Like, how can I support them? How can I add value? How can I help them? And I write it out. That way, I'm getting it out of my head onto paper. So, first tip, reflect. Second tip, brainstorm. And the third one that helps me with clarity and journaling is goals. If you don't know where you're going, any path will get you there. So you have to be clear about what your plan is. And where most people stumble is they're too much into other people's priorities. Like the first thing you get up, you check an email. That's other people's priorities. You can't live your life with other people's priorities. You have to have your plan, your purpose, your why, your philosophy of life. And if you're not exercising that in writing your goals, writing them down, putting them on paper, or in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you where you can actually have it on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer, and you can speak it into it, which has been magical for me because spelling is not my friend. So I get stuck on words, just common words that people would write out. The brain just doesn't process that. My brain, that is. If you talk to somebody that's a dyslexic, that has dyslexic in their blood or whatever, their brain or whatever you want to say, we think differently. We solve problems. We look at patterns. We look at just life differently. You just have this brain that has been developed that is different than a person that's not dyslexic. So for years, my whole life, I didn't see it as a superpower until I started journaling, still writing goals, putting things down, exercising the creative part of me through writing it out. So just encourage you, those 3 tips. Now I'm going to show you, I think I can get to it. I'm going to show you a system. Hold on here. Let me see if I can get it on here. I haven't done this before. Okay. All right. There. Yeah, here we go. Okay. All right. There we go. Dang. Okay. Let me go back to it. Okay. You may not be yeah, I think you can see it. So up here is journal. Okay. So off the side is your home page. Then you have your journal. We won't go into any of the other options at this time. But you see where we have this, what is on your mind? That's when I can put a lot of thoughts in there. We even have right here where you see morning mindset. This gives you the ability to have prompted questions. And the prompted questions get you to think. Evening prompted questions, growth questions, and even your weekly summary. And it has a history. So you now have a way to capture all your thoughts and ideas, put them in one place. If you're a PC person or a Mac person, you can have it on there. If you're like me, which is iPhone or iPad, where I can speak into it, then I speak. Just generally who I meet, what lessons I learn, just general information, because the brain is not a storing machine. It's not a data center where we tend to gravitate to it because we think that the more data we have, the better we're going to be. No, it doesn't work that way. The more you think. I remember John Maxwell. He wrote a book, something to this, I don't remember the exact title, but it had to do with thinking. And he basically said, we're not thinking like we used to. Our brains are not, they're bombarded by information, and we're trying to get a little bit more information, more and more and more, because we think more information, and you've heard this phrase, information is power. Well, applied information is. And if you're going to be a good applier of information, be a good journaler. Be a good person that writes, thinks, and puts these skills to work. So let me go up here, and I'm going to give you a way to try it for 14 days. Okay, then what happens after the 14 days? Let me see if I can get this up. I'm almost there. There we go. Try it for 14 days. Now, what's going to happen in 14 days? Brendon Burchard, who has the largest community in personal development, the highest paid coach in personal development, I could go more content out of him. You can search him online. I found out this about 10 months ago. Maybe 8 months ago. I had lost track of him. I heard him 10 years ago in San Francisco when I was working with a client on the West Coast, and she encouraged me to go, and I just couldn't believe the kind of person he is, the energy, the information, the quality of information. Just search him. I challenge you to go. He has his own podcast. Well, he has everything, but this is his project of really raising the awareness of personal development and giving you a tool to grow. Because we've all heard, if you're not growing, you're dying. But sometimes we stop learning. And if we stop learning, we stop growing, and that's when we start going downhill. So you go to PeteKane.me/growth day. And that'll put you where you can try it for 14 days. Brendon gives you a message each day. It goes away at the end of the day. He gives you a framing. He gives you ideas. He gives you challenging thoughts. And if you experience it for those 14 days, you're going to say $49 a month is nothing. Because one, it's an investment in you. And two, it's the best investment on the earth. And you can have it and experience it for 14 days before you decide if you're a good investment, which you are, because anything we make, we're always the best investment. So if you're thinking about, do I invest in a TV or do I invest in personal development? I take the latter, because you're going to expand and you're worth the investment. And so challenge you to just go to PeteKane.me growth day. Try it for 14 days and see the power of journaling and being able to grow and learn. There's different things in here, like his high performance habits is one of the programs they give you. So that's in itself worth many hundreds of dollars. I've been through it 3 times. So I'm always listening and growing through Growth Day because it's such a great resource. But pay very much attention to the journaling part, because if you're not a journaler and you start to implement these 3 tips, reflection, brainstorming, and clarity on your goals, you will get more out of your career. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Share this with somebody you think will benefit. Let me see if I can cut this off here and I'll come back. There we go. Share this with somebody you think can help them in their career, because they discover the power of journaling. Watch out, because clarity that muscle starts to reflect the clarity. Thank you. And we appreciate you being with us. Have a wonderful day.